Everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me for this video today. Today is another part in my series, Way Out Wednesdays. And today we're going to be talking about aliens. Now, let's just be honest with each other and admit that they're real. So once we get over that hump, we can now talk about the real deal about aliens. And I'm going to basically talk to you about some of my experiences with aliens, and I'm going to help you hopefully understand how you may have had experiences with them as well, how to know if you have had experiences with them, and to perhaps kind of parse out what that experience was like for you. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about how they are interacting with humans. So let me start out by saying that probably just like you, I spent a lot of my adult life not really interested in aliens or UFOs. Now, this is actually an important thing because it's something that I use in my readings with people. Let's say that I'm giving you a reading and your guides tell me this issue, whatever this issue that you might be asking about, has some information would be helpful for them to know in regards to their experiences with craft, UFOs, aliens, or star people. So instead of me, I have had to learn this the hard way because the spirit guides are not emotional. They don't have the emotions. Not that they don't love you. They love you. They're on your team, 1000%. But they communicate sometimes without emotion. So what I've learned to do is to ask people 3 questions. And these 3 questions tell me everything I need to know about how to broach the subject of aliens with them. My first question is, when you think of aliens or UFOs, how do you feel? Do you feel afraid or fear or uneasiness? Do you feel, I don't care, I don't know, I never thought about it, don't have any feelings towards it, doesn't matter one way or the other? 3, I love them. I love the idea of aliens. I hope I get to go on a craft. I hope I see one. So those 3 answers tell me everything I need to know. Obviously, if you're love to see one, then I can tell you whatever it is I need to tell you, and I know that you're going to be receptive to it. If option number 2 was you and you said, I don't know, I mean, I don't really care, then I'm going to have to do a little more explaining as to why this is important to you so that you get the message. And if your option was number 1 and you said, I have an uneasiness, I feel skeeved out, I maybe have some fear, or I have avoided the topic. Okay, so fear presents in a lot of different ways. Okay, so obviously, if that is your response, then I know I need to tread very carefully about the information I'm about to give you so that I don't trigger you. Okay, so you can ask yourself that question and see what category you fall in. And I would just say, for me personally, I'm in category number 1. I didn't like the idea. I wasn't drawn to it. I didn't want to watch movies about them. I have not watched any movies about them, even as a teenager or a young adult. No, thank you. I think I might have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, maybe, but that's it. None of those other movies. Didn't even watch Star Trek, for real, you guys. So obviously I'm triggered by my experience with them. But what happens is, regardless of where you fall in that continuum of your beliefs or feelings around the subject, what often happens is we have a spiritual awakening. Now, I've talked about this many times. Usually we have more than one spiritual awakening. Sometimes our spiritual awakening gets interrupted, and I might say rudely interrupted, by life responsibilities, right? Maybe it's your children, maybe it's work. Maybe you went as far as you could on that awakening, and then things started to get a little uncomfortable for you. And you said, well, that's enough for now. Thank you. I don't need to know anymore. I don't wish to explore anymore down this, pathway. So then you just put it to the side and something else takes your interest. But what happens with spiritual awakenings is that you don't just have one. This is not a one ticket kind of thing. You have multiple opportunities to have spiritual awakenings. And sometimes they can be very fleeting and maybe manifest as you read a book, you saw a movie, you saw a video. And then other times it can actually manifest in your life, and it can take a portion of your life that you find this topic or these topics to be very intriguing and interesting for a number of years. Now, I feel like that they're showing me some people that maybe have studied this kind of thing for like 20 years or 40 years. And that is certainly sort of a spiritual awakening that is taking a greater part of your life because you enjoy it. And it's not so much as an awakening as it is a comfort to you at that point, right? You're not actively awakening. You're simply enjoying the comfort of this knowledge and of this experience, but also of maybe of the community. Okay. But what I've been shown is that at some point we have an even bigger spiritual awakening. Typically, this can happen when you're 80. It can happen when you're 40. It doesn't matter. Time does not exist for them. They feel like humans have the ability to have breakthroughs and learn things, and just humans are magical entities that can have breakthroughs all the way to their dying breath. And that is the truth of the matter. So when you're going through these awakenings, what happens is you're sort of poking and prodding around your spirituality in a new way. Maybe you have access to new memories or access to you're willing to expand your thoughts to new horizons and allow new information to come in that maybe just wasn't available to come in for you 5 years ago or even 5 months ago. But for some reason now, you know what? I'm guided to look at this book or this video. So what happened for me was, and it's the same thing, you guys, I'm like an open book with you guys. You guys can look at my videos and see that I talked about my spiritual awakening and how that happened for me. I want you to understand how it happens for me is how it happens for me. Does not mean that it's going to happen for you the same way. It likely will not, because we are vastly individual energies. Okay, vastly different. But in as much as whatever I experienced can help you understand your own journey, I will offer it up to you. Okay. So for me, I had an uneasiness around everything that I was supposed to do in my life, right? So I had an uneasiness around ghosts. I didn't want to see ghosts. I didn't want to talk to ghosts. I didn't want to talk to dead people. But yet, there it was. They were always with me. I didn't want to deal with aliens or UFOs. So I blocked all of that. I blocked it. This is common. If you don't understand something, your thinking brain is going to make sense of everything in your life. Your thinking brain is to keep you safe. End of story. So if you're presented with something that doesn't make any sense, your brain is going to be like, no, this doesn't fit. Put it away. Toss it away. Or, oh my gosh, this experience caused Susan some fear and anxiety. We're going to lock that over here in this vault, and she's never going to have to experience that again. We're going to keep her safe. So in this vault that you probably have as well, And it doesn't have to be about ghosts or aliens. It could be about childhood memories. It could be about past life issues. Anything that you do not understand in your present human, existence that also causes a little bit of anxiety or fear or confusion, your brain's just going to lock it away. And the best thing you can do for your life is open that vault and start cleaning it out, because that has, even though it's locked away, it has quite a bit of power over you in this current lifetime. It's affecting you in your current lifetime subconsciously, because subconsciously, it's there. Your subconscious is no dummy. It's not going to be fooled by your conscious thinking mind. So when you're asleep, your subconscious brings all that stuff out of the vault and says, hey, Susan, look at this scary thing. and tries to deal with it, right? Your subconscious is like, hey, we're supposed to be dealing with this, right? If we bring it into the light of day, we can deal with it, we can release it, and then we can breathe easier. And then we can literally, when we're sleeping, we can go to beautiful places instead of dealing with all of this stuff, this quote unquote scary stuff that's hidden in this vault. So what happens when you get on these spiritual awakenings is you start poking and prodding around in this vault, in this sealed place that you've put things that you don't want to think about. These things start coming to the surface where your ego brain just cannot deny it. It can't deny it anymore. You start having, maybe you have recovered memories out of nowhere. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm thinking about my mom, and I'm thinking about her in a way that I've never thought about her before. And now I'm understanding, I somehow have a new understanding of why she was the way she was when I was a teenager. Okay, that's a recovered memory, a new understanding, because you want to know why? You're now ready for this new information. You now have more bandwidth to accept and understand this information. And this is what happens with aliens. If you are an experiencer, and this is just what they call people that have had experience with aliens. How do you know if you've had experience with aliens? Well, I can give you a few instances or examples. One is that you're afraid of aliens. That's probably number one or that you love aliens. If you are afraid or love them, you've had an experience with them. If you're nonplussed, you're like, you're not watching this video. If you don't have a reaction to aliens one way or the other, you're not watching this video, I'm pretty sure. But so let's just say that if you're watching this video, you've had an experience with aliens. Now, for me, once I started having these spiritual awakening, this bigger spiritual awakening that happened, that sort of where I broke through what the blocks, or I finally pried that vault open and let the sunlight enter and started dealing with these things that I had locked in there. Well, one of the things that was locked in there was my experience with aliens. Now, so some things that you may experience are missing time. Now, when we're a child, missing time is a normal thing, right? I mean, we are in la la land. We don't, well, maybe children these days actually live by a watch because they have so many activities. But when I was growing up, it was basically the only thing you needed to know was to be at the bus stop at a certain time, or to be at school, or when lunch was or recess was. Other than that, very little other types of demands on my time. But as we become an adult, time rules everything. Get up, go to work, get up, go to college, get up and feed the kids. Whatever it is, everything is ruled by time. And that's why adults are more likely to notice missing time than children. I'm not saying children don't experience it. Children do have alien experiences. I'm about to tell you one of mine. But I'm going to say that if you want to really notice that you had missing time, it would likely be as an adult. To give you an example, I was in my, I guess I was having my initial awakening. I didn't understand anything about it at the time. And I certainly, and I mean certainly, had no intention of letting any of this stuff out of this vault. I would have actually nailed more of it shut. But whenever this was in my late 20s, let's just say, I'm traveling with a friend in a car, and we were meeting up with some other friends at a restaurant. And my friend and I were chatting. We did have this thing where we could just chat, like we could just talk, Number one, and number two, I will admit that I'm not very good with directions. I'm directionally challenged to the max. So these things are true. However, the restaurant was about 10-15 minutes away, and my friend and I found ourselves an hour away in the opposite direction of the restaurant. An hour in a new town, in a completely new town. And that is when it felt like we came to our senses, and we were just incredulous that we were in a new town. I mean, we literally could not fathom how we got there. At the time, we just, said, we were chatting and lost track of time. Now, come on, 15 minutes, surely I would have noticed that I was not in the right place. 30 minutes, 15 minutes past the time that I should have gotten there. Surely I would have noticed I was not in the right place 45 minutes or 30 minutes past the time that I should have gotten there. But I didn't realize it until I saw the sign that said I was in a new town. So that, to me, that was missing time. I cannot make sense of that. It never happened again like that. Like, obviously I get lost a lot, and I might drive an extra 10 minutes or something, at the max. So that happened. And also around the same time, say within the same 2 years, same friend, a bunch of us were together and we were going camping. Well, when we showed up and as this happens when you're younger, it starts off with like 4 people, and then all of a sudden it's 10, right? So we made reservations at a campground, but we had a lot more people, and we just assumed they would allow us to put our tents, but they wouldn't. So there wasn't room for me and my friend to put our tent on the same campsite. And so the ranger said, no problem, really no problem. Just go down this road. It's just right down this road. There's a farmer who allows people to camp on his land. You just need to check with him first. And so we did. We checked with him. Now, one thing about me that I couldn't put in the vault, wasn't able to hide, was that I read energy. I'm extremely sensitive to energy. And when I drove, and it's giving me the willies now, when I drove up to this farm, I was like, no, this isn't good. I don't like this. My friend was a scientist. So she was like, what are you talking about? This is beautiful. We're lucky. They're with all those loud campers all around them. We've got this whole field to ourselves. We couldn't have gotten any luckier. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the worst energy ever. So I thought this farmer is going to be like an axe murderer or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't like this at all. So we pitched the tent, and the tent had a skylight in it, the way sometimes tents do, that it has a mesh skylight so you can look at the stars. And no sooner had I fallen asleep, despite the fact that I was sure that this guy was going to be an axe murderer, I woke up. It's like my eyes just popped open. And as I was looking out of that skylight in the tent, I saw a craft. Now, the craft was a little bit further in the sky. It wasn't like right over my tent or right in front of me. It was literally, far enough in the sky, but I knew. So that's the other thing. I knew it was a craft. It was weird. It was bigger than it should be as far away as it was. So it was like an odd context, looking at the trees, looking at the craft. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense, right? And then the next thing I knew is I couldn't wake my friend up because I couldn't move. And the next thing I knew, it was morning, and I woke up and I And I said, did you see anything or hear anything? She's like, no, I slept like a baby. This is the best decision ever. I'm like, okay. I think maybe I told her at some point in our friendship, but I certainly didn't say anything that day. Because again, if your brain can't make sense of something, if it doesn't fit in one of your file folders, then it just tosses it out. Or if it creates anxiety for you, it locks it away. So I will also tell you what happened to me as a child. Now, these memories that I have came to me much later in life. So I actually didn't remember these things. I mean, I remembered the missing time because it was so weird. And by the time we got back to the restaurant, my friends were like basically calling the police. This was before cell phones, right? We just disappeared off the map. So that made a big deal on my consciousness. But other things I tend to just lock away. So as a child, I was staying with my grandmother, and I clearly remember this as after I recovered this memory. Now I have a crystal clear memory and knowing of this event. She had 2 twin beds in her room, and the twin beds were parallel to each other. And right on the other side of the twin bed, on her twin bed, was a window. So I was laying in my twin bed, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night. Now I was probably around 8 years old, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and I remember looking over to my side out the window, and there in the backyard was a craft, and it was a small craft. It was a pretty small backyard, and it was a small craft, but I mostly saw this white light, blinding white light coming at me. And the funny thing is that when I say I sat up, it was odd the way I sat up as well. I'm a kid, right? I didn't sit up like this. You know, I was like as if I was pulled. So my back was straight and I went like this. I was pulled into a seated position more than a kid just waking up going, what's wrong? What's going on? Right. I just remember being very straight backed as I looked out the window. Of course, I'm looking across my grandmother's bed, and I noticed that she is looking at me. She's not looking at the window. She's looking at me, and telepathically, she told me, it's okay. You're one of us. This is what we do. This is what she told me. This is what we do. Now, my grandmother she never talked about this stuff. I mean, she never, ever talked about anything other than maybe a little bit of church. And this is my dad's mother. That side of my family, we're all scientists, all into the science. This isn't something they would no more go see a psychic. I mean, no, trust me, that not in their vocabulary. So how odd that my grandmother's communicating this to me. It's okay. This is what we do. Now on my mom's side of the family is where the psychics and the mediums are. Now you can have all of this on one side of your family, or you can just have the experiencer part. I'm just saying that for me, this is how it worked out. Okay. So I had these experiences. I probably had other experiences. But I want to tell you, right. I want to tell you how you can find out what your experiences are. So there's a few ways you can go about this. And I want to talk about this because I feel like this is really important. If you have a little bit of anxiety or fear or unease around the idea of you being an experiencer or you being abducted or whatever it is that happened to you, you really want to tread lightly towards this understanding and knowledge. And what typically happens is you're guided to do it. And what does that mean? It means that out of the blue, and I mean literally out of the blue, you click on a video, and maybe this is that video for you, right? Maybe this is the first video, but you click on something, you buy a book, you read an article, you're just drawn to it. It's very out of character for you, is what you would say. I don't know why I did this. Now, you may take that action, and that might be the last action that you take. You may satisfy that urge to know more, and that might be fine for now. And then you may go some more time, and then you may have another urge to go a little deeper or to go in a different direction with the same topic. Okay, so this is all gentle. We want to be gentle with this. This isn't one of those things, in my opinion, that you want to go headlong, head first, dive deep into it. You sort of want to go and then check, how do I feel? Do a little bit more. How do I feel? Do I have enough information? Would I like more information? There's no harm in asking that question of yourself in any topic. How do I feel? Do I feel like I want some more information or not? So the reason I would say this is because some people, another option that you can have is to have a regression. So you can go to a hypnotherapist and you can be regressed back to the event. Now, this could be an event where you had contact. It could be an event where you saw a craft. It could be an event where you had a past life regression. But any of these events could trigger in a larger way, could trigger big feelings, big emotions. And that's fine. If you're ready for that, if you feel, oh my gosh, I would love to have a regression and go back and figure this out and relive it, because in a regression, you're reliving those experiences. So if you were afraid, you're afraid. Now, a good regression hypnotherapist will walk you through that fear. And this is part of the thing, is you get to conquer it or relieve it or understand it. So you open that vault, you take that ugly stuff out, you put it on the table, you look at it, you deal with it, you release it, and then you're free. So that's one way to do this. For me personally, I saw a regression on YouTube of a person who was being regressed through their alien abduction experience. And they videoed it. And I thought, no, that's not for me. I don't want to do that. So instead, my spirit guides, brought me a gentler way for me to uncover memories. For me, what happened is, out of the blue, completely uncharacteristically for me, I bought a book on this woman's her own experience, her own journey through her own regression. And I don't remember the name of the woman. I don't remember the book. I don't even have it anymore. So just Google, and this is for you to find your journey. You're on your own journey. Allow yourself to be guided. See what you're guided to click on or to learn about. I read her vicariously, her experiences, and it triggered my experiences. In some ways, it was almost like her and our experiences were very similar. And that helped me uncover these memories. But because it was vicarious, it wasn't so much me experiencing it. I was experiencing it through her, which felt safer for me. In that way, I uncovered some of these memories that I'm talking about, plus some more. And at some point, I said to my spirit guides, you know what? I'm good. I feel very comfortable now with the knowledge that I have. I don't wish to experience any more memories at this time. You call the shots. You tell your guides, I don't wish to experience whatever that is any longer or at this time. Thank you. Okay, so then they stopped giving me memories because they were like, okay, Susan's good. She said she was good. She's good. Now, at some point, well, it's happened already. At some point, you may go back into that energy and go deeper and learn more. Okay. But you can control the pace to a very large degree. So for me, that was how I wanted to do this. For you, you might say, yeah, I'm good. I don't even want to read a book. I don't want to watch any more videos. I don't want to know anything else. I'm good. Thank you. Put it back in the vault. Hey, that's fine. But I just want to tell you that if you ever gotten a splinter and it's kind of deep and perhaps maybe you don't even know it's there, and then a little callus or the skin grows over your splinter. Now, what happens to that splinter? It doesn't stay there, folks. It's a foreign object. It's not supposed to be here. So it works its way back to the surface of your skin, and then it literally comes out. It emerges out of your skin. That is what's happening to you with these anxious or sad or whatever they are, experiences or memories that you have locked in your vault. They're not likely to stay in there your entire life. At some point, as your soul grows, you're going to want to open that vault up and just start pulling that stuff out. And this is what happens. I'm saying sometimes you're just literally, you wake up and you go, you know what? I'm going to try tapping. I don't know. I'm just drawn to try tapping. You know what? I'm going to look into becoming a vegetarian. Oh, you know what? I'm going to look into learning about the tarot. That's guidance, folks. You don't just wake up and think you're going to, become a yoga instructor. You know what I mean? These things are guidance. So when you wake up or you're just, I say wake up, it's almost, that's the euphemism, right? Is that you find yourself clicking on that topic. That's the metaphor of the splinter coming out, or these trapped emotions or feelings or thoughts, experiences coming out. Now, so for me, I apparently signed up for this gig, I guess. I mean, my grandmother said, this is us, we do this. I do find that this travels in families. Honestly, I have not had one client yet that was the only person in their family. Usually it's a parent, one of the parents, one of the kids, and sometimes one of the parents and many of the kids, or one of the grandparents. Like, that's a really good question that I've honestly never asked. I've never asked this question. I've never asked if my dad, because it was his mother, right? I've never asked if my dad was an experiencer. Oh my God, of course he was. That is funny. So these, you can't make this stuff up. So these events in our life that we lock away, that we don't want to talk about, they literally manifest in other areas of our life very innocently. So for instance, if you, this is just an example, not from my dad, vaguely, but not really. If you just for real in your heart of hearts and your soul, there's ghosts, but it terrifies you and you don't want to talk about it. You may actually joke about it all the time. You may find that you're always debunking it. Well, that makes you feel better, right? If I'm debunking it all the time, then I'm convincing myself that they don't exist, right? Or you may think that it's cute and funny. You may say, I don't believe in aliens, but yet you might be the one with the 5-foot tall blow up alien Christmas blow up in your front yard, right? You know what I mean? So it's innocent. It's innocent, but yet it's a way for you to express. It's expressing. It's expressing. So in my dad, and this is a funny story anyway, my dad was a jokester. Okay. He's always playing jokes on people. I mean, he could be very serious, but he was also a jokester. Well, and he also raised chickens and bred chickens. And he would often order eggs. He would literally have real fertile eggs delivered via the mail. I kid you not. And then he would hatch them under a, light, usually in the basement. But I don't know, one year he got this, and this not like him at all. This is another thing that's head scratch your head about, right? My dad could build anything. He was a sheet metal worker. He was a carpenter. So he could build incubators in like nothing. He built them all throughout my childhood. Somehow he ordered this incubator, not at all like I'm telling you, my dad spent money on nothing. He orders this incubator, but it's too big for the basement. So he puts it in the backyard. I kid you not, you guys. And of course, it's got a light in it. And it's hooked up to the electricity. And so my neighbors called the police. You guys, for real. I was there for this experience. Called the police and told the police there was this weird thing that they thought was, you guessed it, a UFO in my dad's yard, in the backyard, and they were terrified. And so here we are, it's about 9:30 at night, it's dark outside. We get a knock on the door. My dad goes to the door and there's police officers. And I'm like, holy moly, police didn't come to our house. So I was like, what is going on? My dad steps out to talk to them. And now my dad is like, oh, this is my dad winning the biggest award of his entire life, is to be able to pull a joke on police officers. I'm not kidding you. He had bad, he tried to joke with the word like nuns. I'm like, Dad, don't joke with a nun. Don't do that. Anyway, he takes the police officers into the backyard. And he's like, I don't know what's back there. I mean, really a UFO? I mean, really, there's a UFO in my backyard? Well, you go first, hook, line, and sinker. So it was a freaking incubator, right? Baby chicks popping out of eggs, not aliens popping out of eggs. But how interesting, right? That's what they just showed me, was when I asked if my dad was an experiencer, why do you think he had this alien thing in the backyard, experience in the backyard? My dad never joked about aliens. He never talked about aliens. Now, he did joke about ghosts, but he didn't joke about aliens. I think that was a little too close to home for him. So, yes, your parent usually has it as an experiencer, your grandparents, some of your siblings. You may have memories of walking to the window and looking out into the field at night. You may feel that is your home. You may have sat outside as a young child or as a teenager and said, where are you? Where are you? I'm waiting for you, right? So you could actually have had a beautiful experience with aliens or with star beings. And that could have been what your memories uncover is that they were very helpful or loving, or it was more of they're just showing me like an astral traveling and being with these beautiful beings of love and light. So not all aliens are bad. Not all aliens are good. It's just like anything. We're meant to have lessons. We're meant to have understanding. Our soul is supposed to grow, right? I would also say to you that there's a lot more here. There's obviously, right, a lot more to this story. And I will do more videos on aliens. I will answer a lot more questions if I can about aliens and about their role here on Earth. Why are they here? Yes, they're here. Yes, I do believe that they have bases in Antarctica. I do believe they have bases underwater. And I do believe that they have bases in the mountains, in certain mountains. In some cases, they are mining minerals that are very precious that we don't know about. We don't understand how precious these minerals are. We know about the mineral, but we don't understand its ability yet. We don't have that understanding as humans yet. I do believe, and I've said this before, that these beings are keeping us from blowing ourselves up with nuclear bombs. It is very widely documented that nuclear silos and different things went offline in the 50s, because if we blow Earth up, even if we blow one of our countries up, that resulting energy shockwave doesn't just affect Earth, it affects the solar system and potentially other solar systems. And so those beings are not going to allow us to do that. Now, we may at some point, if we choose to, really cause some real damage to this planet, but we're not going to be allowed to cause damage to the planet on such a scale that affects other existences. That's not going to be allowed. There's so many examples of how other beings got involved. Look up the Foo Fighters. That were, UFOs or UAPs or whatever you want to call them. There's so many instances of intervention. Okay. But I would just say, is there anything else they want to say about this? It's the last thing I would say to you, and it's a really important thing. If you are experiencing, or if you have experienced something that is unfriendly, or something that's given you anxiety, or something that has made you nervous or fearful or whatever, and I'm saying whether it's an alien or whether it's a ghost or whether it's an entity or an energy or really and truly even human form, I want you to understand something. First of all, I know what it's like to be afraid of these things, because this is where I was, and your fear is real. You're not making it up. Okay, you're not making this up. Trust me when I say you're not making it up. I want to validate that, and I want to validate that it really is a real physical fear. Okay, but I want to tell you that there is something that you can do, and something that you should know, that can change that can really change your life, honestly. And this is what humans overall, this is one of our biggest lessons. Humans, one of our biggest lessons is that we are to step into our power. We're very powerful. We have a human body that is a physical body that is very limited. It is very limited. I mean, we're going to top out at around 100 years of living, and we can break things and, all of that. But what is unlimited is our soul. And that is very powerful. We are extraordinarily powerful beings living in a human form. Now, what that means is that if you're having an experience with an energy, or you're feeling something, or something is making you upset, afraid, angry, anxious, whatever, you can say to this energy, and honestly, they're saying, again, this goes for humans, I know that that if I tell you to leave me alone, stop bothering me, that you have to do it. It's universal law. Universal law states that if I tell you, I know you know this. I'm calling you out. I know that That if I tell you to go away, you have to do it. Now go. Now, why is that different than just saying, go away, or please go away, or stop bothering me, right? What is different? Well, what is different is if you just say, stop bothering me, and you don't believe that you can make them stop bothering you, then they're not going to stop bothering you. They just know those are words. Those are empty words. But when you invoke universal law, you've basically given them a warning that they will more than likely heed. Universal law states that I know you know. That's the key. I know you know. I'm calling you out. I'm telling you that you're not fooling me, that you're not getting one over on me, that you can't fool me because I know better. So I'm calling a spade a spade. Now go. Now at that time, you may also want to call in Archangel Michael. You may want to call in Metatron. You may want to call in Jesus, or you may want to invoke a God or whoever that is for you. And that's fine. Absolutely. Backup is good. All you're going to be doing as a human is just saying, I know you know, now be gone. Now, they may throw a fit, they may decide that they're going to take you on because you're in human form, whatever. And that's why you call in Archangel Michael and you do all these things at the same time. But that is a game changer. Once you know that you're protected in that way, that's a game changer for humans. I feel like humans have been, some people call this a prison planet, right? I don't feel that we're a prison planet. I don't feel like that at all. I think there's beauty here. There's love here. My gosh, think about all the beautiful things, the magic, the miracles that happen on this planet. This is not a prison planet. This is not hell. People say, well, the real hell is Earth. It's not hell, and it's not a prison planet. If you want to make it a prison planet and hell, you will do that. If you think that that's what this is, then it will be that for you. But what can happen is that if you allow people to take advantage of you, and you allow alien energy to run roughshod over you, and you allow ghosts or other energies to manipulate you and to feed off of your fear, then that will happen. And I don't want to sound judgy, because I've been there. I have been really in a bad way with this for a continued number of months that I experienced sort of this challenge. And so I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, because it was anything but easy for me. But this is something that's a very powerful tool that you can use. Now, the last thing I would tell you is that in any situation, again, whether you're dealing with extraterrestrial, or you're dealing with energies that are whatever they may be, and you feel like this is not good, this feels scary, I don't like this, then what you can do is you can literally see your vibration, which if you're experiencing this, then you're experiencing fear and anxiety, then your vibration is a little lower. So what you can do is you can imagine in your mind's eye, or just know that it's there, or feel that it's there, that there's a dial. And you're going to take this dial and you're going to crank that sucker up. That is your vibration. You're just going to manually go, no, I don't want to be on this channel. This radio station sucks. I don't want to be on this radio station. This movie is terrible. I don't want to watch this movie anymore. I'm going to change the channel. I'm going to change the station. It sounds simple, but it works. If you believe it, it works. I now know that I am in a beautiful, safe place, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's a beach. Maybe it's a garden. Maybe it's a waterfall. Maybe it's a beautiful, cozy cabin with a fire in the fireplace. Maybe it looks like clouds. So work on this. Work on perfecting, exercising this new muscle of switching the channel. So you can do this if you're having a bad day at work, or a bad day with some family or something like that, and you can't physically get away, you can try switching that channel in your brain. Okay, let me just try it. This person is yakking and complaining and just won't shut up or whatever. What do? You tune them out, don't you? Just let your brain go somewhere else. This is the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. You're going to allow your brain to go somewhere else, which means disconnect from this energy that you don't like. So hopefully this was helpful, instructional. Who knows what it was? I don't know. I doubt that it was shocking. Now, I really do want to, I'm going to come back and talk about more about aliens, because I have a lot more to say about this subject. I will, someone suggested in my last political video that I maybe talk to Eisenhower, because he had some, allegedly had some interesting experiences with aliens. So I am going to talk to him about his alien experience. I'm not sure if it'll be the next Way Out Wednesday, but it will be coming up soon. As usual, I always enjoy your comments. Please, if you feel comfortable doing so, share your own experience, be it good, be it challenging. Please let us know what happened to you and how you have managed, or maybe you haven't managed. Maybe you've just had the experience, but you don't know exactly what to do about it. Or maybe you have had the experience and you've worked through it. I will say to you, I started out with this kind of negative experience. I mean, not horribly negative, but not pleasant. I started out with that. I worked through that energy, and now I'm having experience with beautiful star beings, beautiful energy star beings. So I've changed my experience from one of grief or anxiety, which frankly, these energies feed off of that anxiety. So they're depleting you. I disconnected with those energies, cut the cords, disconnected, fired them, changed my energy back to, maybe you might call it neutral, healed, did some healing, found my sense of purpose, found myself. My identity does not have to be experiencer with bad aliens. That's not my identity anymore. I let go of that identity. My identity doesn't have to be bad childhood or bad abusive spouse. We can deal with that, release it, forgive ourselves and them, come to neutral, heal from this place of neutrality. And then from the place of neutrality, well, if we want to trip the light, fantastic. If we want to astral travel to beautiful places with beautiful energies, if we want to ride a unicorn through the Arcturian fields, then we can. We can do whatever we want if we allow ourselves to experience beauty, joy, light, love, happiness. And we can allow ourselves to release those other experiences. They do not define us any longer. That is a history, a footnote in my history. It happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I am saying that I'm not allowing that to define me. That's not who I am. Who I am is riding a unicorn through the rainbow astral field of glitter as I, eat donuts. No, as I experience this beautiful new kind of existence. That's where I'm going. Okay. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me for Way Out Wednesdays. Really appreciate all of your love and support. You guys are truly amazing. Again, please leave me comments, and we'll see you again next Wednesday for another one of these Way Out Wednesday videos. Take care.